อะไรนะเดือนพิมพาเราเองค่ะ
ใช่นะจ๊ะ
ใช่นะโอเคหรอ
เยาวราชใช่นะจ๊ะ
อ๋อที่เราต้องเลือกเขาไหนเราให้ไปต้องเลือกก่อนเวลาให้ก็ตายไปหักตาถูกระหำเราจะทำนะตรงนี้เดี๋ยวนี่เราจับกันหมดแล้วเอาไม่หมดแล้วเราเป็นทางเองได้
เลี้ยงเขาเป็นพันธุ์เช่าใช่ไหมที่มันแทงตัวหนอนอ่ะไม่ดีนั่นมันหนอนอยู่ไม่ตายไม่ดีบอกกินไม่ดีที่ต้องมาไอ้กินแค่เขาอ่ะใช่พวกเลยพวกนี้ไม่ได้สารถึงสีพวกหนอนอ่ะชอบกินจะตายเลยอ่ะตายวายตายไม่เชื่อแล้วต้องชื้อไปสารถึงแบบเราเลยเขาไม่ใช่เด็กพอเลยคือแต่คุณต้องมาให้หัวยาเลยค่ะไอเดียของใช้นานยาคือว่าชัดแจ๋วเลยเนี่ยแจ๋วเลยคือเดี๋ยวเราเพิ่มN.E.S.Cคือใช้นานวิธี
Ready to go again? Now, the thing that is so important in English is the word order, the order of the words in a sentence. And we can, we understand what the words mean by looking at where they are in the sentence. And the usual order of an English sentence is, let me draw a line here so we don't get this confused. The usual order for a sentence is we'll have a subject, then we'll have a verb, and then we'll have objects. That's the basic order of a sentence. Now, it doesn't always work that way. Some writers will sort of vary the order to create more variety in the way the sentences are written, but the basic structure of an English sentence is subject, verb. Sometimes we call the verb, sometimes we call it the predicate. The predicate is the action in the sentence. And then we have objects. Now, we make that structure more detailed, we give more detail to that by adding modifiers. So we might have modifiers for the subject. We would call those adjectives, right? And we could have modifiers for the verb. We would call those adverbs. We can even have modifiers for the objects, more adjectives. Sometimes the modifiers are just a single word. For example, the tall man, baby. Sometimes modifiers are prepositional phrases. Remember we talked about prepositional phrases? A phrase is a group of two or more words, and a prepositional phrase is a group of two or more words that starts with a preposition. Like earlier this morning, we had a little dog in our room. So I could say, this morning we had a little dog with a tail in our room. Well, with a tail is a prepositional phrase that modifies dog. So we take this basic structure of the sentence, subject, verb or predicate, objects. And then we can add modifiers to give the sentence more detail, to make it more meaningful. Now, when we speak or when we write, we need to make sure we get the order correct in order for the sentence to make sense. And it's just for you to sound as though, to sound like you're fluent in English. And when we're first learning a language, one of the most common mistakes is we get the word order incorrect. We don't get the order correct. And an English speaker like myself can hear those differences. So it's going to be important for us that we get the order of words correct in order to be a fluent English speaker. So we're going to practice that a little bit. And see, this is how English is so different than Thai, because when I try to pronounce words in Thai, you know, I had you teach me a few phrases, and I kept saying the same thing, and you said, no, that's incorrect. And I'd say it again, and you'd say, no, that's wrong. And I'd say it again, and you'd say, no, that's still wrong. Because I couldn't get the pitch correct. You could tell that I was making mistakes because you could hear the pitch. Well, an English speaker who is hearing someone who is Thai or Chinese or Japanese or German or anything, when you speak the language, if the order of words is incorrect, I know immediately, that's incorrect. So we want to practice word order. We want to practice word order. Here's an example. This happened yesterday. Yesterday, the other teachers and I, we went to the celebration in Chinatown last night. So, yesterday, that's the subject of the sentence. I took, meaning I rode, I took the water taxi to Chinatown with the other teachers. Now, here's the subject. That's the subject, right? This is the verb or the predicate. Now, the object of this sentence, I took the taxi, that's the object. Water is a modifier. It's what kind of taxi? I mean, I could have taken a taxi on the road, but by saying water taxi, I specified a different way of transportation. So this is an adjective. But notice the adjective came before the noun. The adjective, I would not say, yesterday I took the taxi water. That would be wrong. I mean, we just don't say it that way. So the adjective comes before the noun. To Chinatown. This is a prepositional phrase. That prepositional phrase modifies where I went. I took the water taxi to Chinatown. So, prepositional phrase which modifies where I went. But it's the order of the sentence. See, I would not say in English, I would not say, to Chinatown, the water taxi I took. It's in the wrong order. We'd want to say the right order, I took the water taxi to Chinatown with the other teachers, another prepositional phrase. This says with whom I went. Okay? Now, I could, if I wanted to vary the sentence structure, it would still be correct to say, with the other teachers, I took the water taxi. That would not be incorrect, but it's not the normal way of speaking. And what I encourage you to do is to practice the order that is most typical, that is used most often. When you read English in the magazines and in novels and so on, you'll see authors use different ways of ordering the sentence because they're trying to be creative. They're trying to add variety to the way the language is being used. But to practice speaking English to begin with, I think we want to stick with the normal order of things. So, subject, followed by a verb, followed by an object. And then we add modifiers, either adjectives or adverbs or prepositional phrases to add detail to the sentence. So, sentence ends here. We saw dragon dances and we attended a Chinese opera. Now, this is what we call a compound sentence. It's where you take two sentences and put them together. If you only do that if the two clauses are very closely related. So I would make this a compound sentence because this explains now what we did at the same time last night. We went to the dragon dances and we attended the Chinese opera. So a compound sentence, we separate. We have to have, for a compound sentence, we have to have a subject, a verb, we have a subject, and we have a verb. They're basically two sentences that we have combined